Hey YouTube. I just learned, well, I kind of knew this already, but it was just a confirmation of something that I actually do know. Now, my living situation is a little odd because at first I was living with my parents, and then due to some things that occurred, now I'm staying with my sister. But I do have a job and everything, so I don't think it's fair to be living up in someone's house, having your own personal space, you know, like an efficiency type thing. That's what I've got. I got my own bathroom, my own personal space. The only thing that I don't have is like my own personal kitchen, but everything else is personally mine. And I don't see how I should be living in a person's house and not at least be helping out with some of the bills. So before I moved, I was like, I got a job and everything, so I'm not going to be expecting that y'all paying all the bills and I'm just living free and lovely. So definitely, you let me know, like, how much you want me to help you out with, or how much you want me to give you every month or whatever to help you out with your bills and little things like that. And she was like, well, that's okay. You can give me like $300 and that's fine. And I was like, all right. So I went ahead and I moved my stuff and everything. $300 is not that much. I mean, that's pretty damn cheap when it comes to like an efficiency type thing, at least here in Miami. And it was cool, I did my thing, and it was very good because she was able to help me when it came to babysitting. Like when she went to work, I babysit her kids, and when I went to work, she babysit mine. So it was kind of like a very good benefit for both of us. And then about 2 months after I had moved in, she came to me and she was like, well, I think I'm gonna have to raise it to like $350. And I was like, all right. She raised it up $50. I was like, okay, that's not that much or whatever. Maybe once you start getting the bills rolling in and everything, you see how much it is. Maybe you found out you like $50 short. So I was like, that's not a problem. $350, whatever. So now she came to me about 2 weeks later, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna have to raise your rent up again. I was like, well, damn. I said, well, how much? And she was like, $600. And I looked at her with this look on my face like, you gotta be kidding me. So I found myself in a little bit of a predicament, because I was kind of like, okay, when I moved in, not to say that I really had to, because the situation that I was going through with my parents, it blew over by the time it was time for me to move, and they told me that I didn't have to, but I didn't want to. So that was always an option, that I could have stayed there. But because of the situation when it came to babysitting, and I didn't want to put my daughter at such a young age in daycare, I was like, it would be best for me because my schedule works better off with my sister than it does with my mother and my father. So I was like, let me move with her. And when I moved, I was under the impression that if you have a place that you're staying in, that you already made your budget plans and everything that told you, okay, well, you're going to need such and such and such. So when it came to me, I was like, they already had their budgeting plans. So they already knew they were going to be able to pay their bills. The only thing was just that the extra added amount that I was putting in that I would give up, because when I move and I leave, then they would still be able to pay their bills, because now my added extra would be gone when I leave. But when it increased, I was thinking, dang, well, now it sounds to me as if like, they're becoming dependent on me, as if like I'm actually, part owner or something of the place. So I just kind of felt really uncomfortable. And one thing about me is that I don't play with my money. When it comes to my money, I'm very meticulous and very tight when it comes to my money. I don't run around spending my money on any old thing. Yes, I have little things that I like to buy. I love to buy purses. I love to buy shoes and everything. But I keep that under control. You don't see me buying things unnecessarily and having a load amount of shoes or I do have a load amount of purses. But I keep that under control. I'm not spending my money feverishly everywhere. So that's one thing I don't play about my money. So when that came up, I was just very uncomfortable, and I just felt like, what am I going to do? Because I'm not willing to pay this, it's not going to happen because of the way that I was looking at the whole situation from my point of view. I was trying to look at it from all the aspects of everyone else, but mostly, of course, I'm still going to be looking at it through my point of view. So it didn't happen. And what it taught me was that when it comes to family and it comes to situations about money, as much as you don't want to hurt the person's feelings, or as much as you don't want to ruin the relationship, you have to drop a contract, because it saves you a lot of the drama. It would save you a lot of chaos when it comes to the relationship breaking up. Next thing you know, you taking your family to court to settle things. If you just have a plain drawn up contract that says such and such and such. And I feel like that's what I should have had done, because now I feel like the relationship is strained. The relationship is awkward because I'm not willing to pay that much. And it's expected that I'm going to pay it. And I'm like, no. And the person's like, well, why? And I said, no. Because I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it makes any sense. So now it's just like an awkward position. And especially it made it even worse because of the fact that I had already been looking around for a place of my own, in which I had found one. And I had started, the whole process of getting the work done and getting the paper signed and sending, doing all that stuff with the little realty company and the mortgage company and everything. So now I was already, practically on my way headed out the door if everything went well. So to think that, oh my God, they're depending on me, and here I am about to hit the door. So it was a very awkward situation, but I think it's very true that when it comes to family and it comes to situations and matters of the money, you just need to be clear cut and just draw up some papers, because that will really help out the situation more so than you ever know. Than for, like I said before, to get into a whole complicated matter, the family has been divided. Now y'all going to court. Nobody don't want to talk to nobody. There's arguments and there's fights. Just to avoid all that, already have a simple contract drawn up. And that way it's just like you have to abide by the contract and that's it. I mean, even with a contract, it can still end up ugly. But at least you know that the contract was a mutual agreement. So the person is falling back on their agreement. And that's just between them. Not being able to hold their promise, instead of harsh feelings and everything being entered by no one really having had a mutual agreement to begin with in the first place. So you guys let me know what you think when it comes to situations where it's family and money that's involved, two parties in a family that's involved, and it has to do with money. Because whenever you add money to anything, it's like things can go sour real quick.